Hey there, Fletcher from All Things Overlanding here, and today in this episode of the podcast, we're going to dive into some, I guess you would call them argumentative comments that I've had in the past on videos or posts that I've done. And I wanted to dive into them, not to argue with people, but to sort of share conflicting opinions that people have had. But so today we're going to talk about things like, do you like a clean rig or a dirty rig? Because I get a lot of comments about that. Do you like a neat rig or a messy rig, right? Do you like your things in one place, or do you like being able to throw things in and keeping it modular? And then finally, fast versus slow, right? Do you like to sort of plan and do things ahead of time and then be ready to go? Or do you like to move really fast and just wait till the last second and throw everything together and go on a trip? So those are going to be kind of the three things I'm going to touch on. These are highly contentious things that I see in the comments all the time. So we're just going to touch on them, have a little bit of fun today, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get into, what are your preferences when it comes to overlanding?
Understand where it came from, but you got it, I got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you gave to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys, so as I mentioned in the intro today, we're talking about preferences when it comes to overlanding. And I've narrowed it down to about 3 topics that I see over and over and over again in my comments, things that people seem to argue about. I may throw in a bonus one at the end of overlanding versus car camping and whether people agree with that term or think that it's just car camping, that kind of thing. But we'll see when we get to the end how long this episode is, because I don't want to make it too long for you. So let's start first with clean versus dirty. Now, I'm a car person. I've been a car person my whole life. And what I mean by that is I really love cars. Like, I feel like cars almost have like a soul or a personality, right? Various cars have different ways that they like to be treated, I guess you would say. And what I mean by that is, like, I've had luxury cars, fast cars, sports cars, things like that. With my sports cars, I always stay really up to date on maintenance. I'm ahead of the curve. Like, I'm doing oil changes earlier, right? I'm checking brakes way more regularly than I do on my daily driver, let's say. I'm very focused on its performance being top. Right? Top notch. So with a sports car or some of my luxury cars and things like that, they're always spotlessly clean. The interior is always wiped down. I don't even eat in them. I don't have any food in them. My kids aren't allowed to bring food in them. Nothing is left behind. So when my kids get in, if they do bring like a drink or something, let's say, they sneak it in. If I find that in there, then I go inside and I say, come out now, get that out of my car, right? So that is how I treat my cars. Now my trucks, on the other hand, and related to overlanding, right? They are a tool for me. So the way that I look at the truck is, like, even though mine's brand new, and I love my truck, and it has its own personality, and I love that it's capable, and I love that it's reliable, and I love that it can haul my gear around, and just the way that it drives is different, right? My car is really quick. It has a really tight turning radius, so it really steers like a sporty type car. And then with the truck, it is heavier steering, the hydraulic steering is a little bit heavier, as everyone mentions, right? It just drives different. I don't drive it fast. I don't floor it. I'm not on it all the time. But also, I do like the maintenance that is required, but I'm not constantly thinking about it, right? Like, I have a spreadsheet. I have reminders set up. When those come up, I knock out the maintenance. It's done. But it is a tool for me to be able to get out in the middle of the woods and go camping. The reason that I bring all that up is because then, as a result, like, I roll with my windows down all the time. Yes, it's getting dust and dirt and bugs into the inside of my truck, but even though it's a new truck, and again, it costs a lot of money and I do care about it, don't get me wrong, but it's just going to get dusty the next time, right? Like, I am going to always roll through the woods in my truck with the windows down, with dust blasting in, radio playing, right? Like, just enjoying being out in nature, enjoying, being sort of remote and not worrying about it getting a little dusty, getting a little dirty. As a result, though, like, I don't care about cleaning it out because I know it's just going to get dusty again next time. So, like, the inside of my truck is kind of a disaster. Probably once, maybe twice a year, I may go through it with like some Armor All or something and kind of clean it out and really try and, like, when I get stuff start to pile up in there, in my cup holders, like patches that have fallen off the headliner or, things like that happen. I've got these little belt buckle things that you can put in your belt. So if I have gear in my seat, it's not setting off the bing, bing, bing all the time because it thinks that there's a person there without a seat belt. So I've got those things, and those go in the cup holder. So when that gets to kind of a critical mass and it's starting to bug me, then I will go through, clean it out, get rid of junk that I don't need anymore, wipe down the truck and stuff. But it doesn't happen that often. I really, again, view it as a tool. and I don't really care whether it's perfectly clean or not. Same goes with the outside. I've owned my truck for about 3.5 years. I have probably washed that thing 5 or 6 times. I mean, full transparency, 5 or 6 times. You take it out, it gets covered in mud. I bring it home. For a couple weeks, every time it rains, my driveway looks like a mud pit, and then slowly the rain washes that away. Or maybe I get the hose out and I spray that stuff off the driveway because I don't want my driveway to look like crap, but I just don't care about the truck. Same with like pinstripes, that sort of thing. People are very sensitive about that. My truck is covered in pinstripes. I don't care. Because it's a tool, right? It's not going to hurt anything. I don't want to break anything. I don't want to bust a tail light. I don't want to, I don't want to do serious damage to the vehicle. But if I go down a tight trail and I get some scratches on it, okay, that's what it's for. I plan to keep this truck for, I've had it for 3.5 years. My goal is 8 to 10 probably, because that's why I bought a new truck. I spent all that money, and the longer I keep it, the more that sort of spreads the cost per year out, right? So I want it to be mechanically reliable, but I don't really care if it's dirty on the inside or the outside. That's just my take on it. Now, I do get a lot of comments that are pretty funny that are like, hey, where do I chip in for a fund to detail the inside of this guy's truck and that sort of thing? To that I say, buy some patches and stickers from the link to my website down below. But it's not going to change anything, honestly. I'm just not going to clean it out very often because it's a tool that gets me out camping, not a showpiece. Right now, when I have an expo or something coming up and the truck's going to be on display there, I'll probably wash it, because then at that point you want to put out your best foot, right? But most people don't do that. Most people don't go to an expo to display their truck or to do that sort of thing. You really just go out camping to go camping, right? So when I'm out here camping, I'm not trying to impress anyone. So I guess that's where I'm going with the clean versus dirty is, in my opinion, does not matter. But what do you think? Again, post up in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Now, as far as messy versus neat, this is where I kind of go the other way. I personally prefer everything to have its own place. I like to build everything in if at all possible. I like everything to have its own place. That's why I built my AC box with basically like one power cord that goes to a surge protector. And then I have all my AC powered things, chainsaw batteries, drone batteries, all that stuff goes in this one case. It all is very neat. It all goes back when I'm done with it. And then it gets plugged in and gets recharged so that the next time I go on a trip, it's ready to go. But some people are more modular. They like to just throw stuff in when it's the last second. They will maybe repack a new box every time they're going and put new gear in there and change stuff in and out. That's not my style. I like to, again, have everything built in. I like everything to have a place. I like to know where everything is. I like to be super neat and sort of OCD when it comes to gear storage and gear packing. That is 90% of the reason why I picked up this canopy camper, is that finally, instead of having a drawer system that's open to the weather and stuff where I kind of have to constantly move stuff around, take stuff in and out, repack stuff, the goal is with the canopy camper, everything will be out of the weather. I don't have to clean stuff as much. I don't have to go through that. I can build more into the back. And then once I do that, then I'll have more storage to keep things in their places and sort of nice and neat and organized. But again, with that, what do you guys think about the organizational piece of it? Post up. Okay, so then finally wrapping up with sort of speed, and then we'll go into that bonus one about overlanding versus car camping. But so speed, are you the type of person, the kind of two options that I'm presenting here are the person that plans for weeks in advance, makes a spreadsheet, maybe documents things out, pre-stages things, maybe starts to get things ready, maybe even starts to pack them in the truck, knowing that they're, some of the things they can pack will not impact like daily driving the truck, getting it ready way, way far in advance to make sure that you have everything? Or are you the person that the night before you're like, oh, time to pack up, and you kind of start mentally going through a checklist and just grabbing stuff and throwing it into bins or bags, totes, that kind of thing, and throwing it all in the truck the night before you leave? So my opinion on this is, once again, I'm kind of a neat freak. I'm kind of a OCD person. So I build a spreadsheet for every trip that I take. I also like that because then I can track it. So I can look back. I've got folders in my Google folders for each year. So I can see in 2026, I went on 15 camping trips, and 3 of them were to Hoosier National and 2 of them were to blah blah blah, and 4 were expos and whatever the case may be. So I do that every time. I make a spreadsheet. I duplicate them a lot of the times, and I try and base them off of similar trips. So like if it's a 2-nighter solo trip, I may duplicate a previous 2-nighter solo trip. If it's a 4-day Patreon trip, that's a different trip. I have to bring different stuff. Maybe I have some guys that are buying gear off me or that I'm bringing stuff for. We've got potlucks. I'm doing more cooking, so that kind of changes things. But I like to be super organized. I like to be ahead of the curve and ready to go so that when that trip rolls up, I'm not rolling out last minute and forgetting half my gear. I've had times where I literally forgot my ladder for my rooftop tent. Game ender, right? Like I got out here. It was also winter. It was very, very cold. I ended up sleeping in a ground tent with a buddy of mine who had a diesel heater because I literally couldn't get up to my rooftop tent. without, monkeying up the side and trying to climb up. So I just said, hey, I'm going to come in with you if that's okay. And we literally separated ourselves from one side to the other, and I slept in his tent because I forgot my ladder. So things like that sort of stick with you. I think that's part of why I'm so OCD and I like to prepare for weeks on end before the trip, is because I just don't want to forget anything. I don't want to ruin my trip because I'm stupid and I forgot something. So for me, that's the way to go. Organization. I can see the appeal of the messier, quicker sort of, last minute throwing things in. That's kind of historically how I've been until, again, I've screwed up a few times, and that's what pushed me the other direction. But so I'd love to hear what you guys are and what you think. So now let's dive into the bonus one, which this one is in my comments all the time, and that is I use the term overlanding a lot. My channel is called All Things Overlanding. That's what I talk about. I love the idea of overlanding and the definition of it being that, the journey is what you're really focused on, not just the destination. That's part of why I build my truck in a way to where I have everything built in, everything has its own spot. I'm always prepared because I want to be able to enjoy that journey without having to worry about, am I going to have a place to stay tonight? Do I have enough water? Do I have enough food? I will always have an abundance of freeze-dried meals. I'll always have extra water, extra drinks, because I just want to be able to get out. And if I want to go a day longer, cool. I've had times where I went to Overland Expo East, for example, a couple years ago, and I had planned it all out. I was going to be there Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, drive all the way back Sunday. Saturday afternoon, it was kind of quiet, kind of dead at Expo. And I was like, you know what? I got 9 hours to drive back. What if I just drove 3 or 4 to West Virginia and just found a random dispersed spot? I got another night of actual camping instead of Expo camping, right? And so I decided to do that. And because I was prepared, because I have extra stuff in my truck, I had freeze-dried meal, I had a propane fire pit, which turned out to be a good thing because where I got in West Virginia was really remote and there were no gas stations or anything. There was no way to buy any firewood. And it was like a first come, first serve. It was more of a campground, but it was October. So there was nobody there. There was one person on the other side camping out of a van or something. But so there was no firewood. So I ended up having to throw a propane fire pit out, but I had a propane tank on me. I had my propane fire pit. I was good to go. I had food. I grabbed some beer on my way on the highway, and I just hung out. I read a book. I watched a couple shows on my phone. I turned on my Weeboost, so I had some cell reception, and that to me is overlanding. Now, I know that a lot of people would argue, well, you're not crossing any borders and you're not fully dependent on your vehicle and blah, 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 blah. But what I will say is I just am not big on the definitions, right? To me, overlanding is vehicle dependent travel where the journey is the goal, not the destination. That's what overlanding is to me. And, being in your truck and being able to just pull into a dispersed campground and set up and camp, you're relying on your vehicle. You did something that you didn't expect, that you weren't planning to do. That journey is what makes it so fun. So for me, I'm not going to get into an argument in the comments about, well, it's actually just car camping or whatever. In the 70s when I was a kid, we did that all the time. We just called it car camping. Who cares? It doesn't matter, right? So the definition game to me doesn't mean a whole lot. And I hope that you guys feel the same way. I hope that you guys are, kind of annoyed by these people that we've just become a society of people that enjoy belittling and demeaning other people, and I don't understand why, right? If you've got a 1999 Dodge Caravan and you are out tooling around in it and you've got a cooler and some stuff in it and you are dependent on the vehicle and you're just enjoying exploring and finding new stuff, that's as close to overlanding as what I do, going through big trails and crazy stuff in Kentucky and really wheeling and off-roading and stuff to get to a campsite to camp out. It does not matter. So anyways, that's kind of my feelings on overlanding versus car camping, the whole definition thing. But I'd love to hear from you guys what you think. But that will do it for this episode of the podcast. I hope that was entertaining for you. Again, I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments down below on YouTube, on Spotify, or hopping over to the social media channels, which are linked in the description down below to talk about this episode. Also below this video, if you're watching on YouTube, is a join button, which is just a passive way to support the channel, get you early access to the videos and some other perks. But if you want to be more involved with all things overlanding, there's also a link to my Patreon page. And the Patreon page is cool because we've got a ton of guys in there talking 24/7 in a Discord. We do a once a month Zoom call, and we're also taking a couple of in-person trips, which have turned out to be a blast. We've all became friends. We've all gotten to know each other. We're going to the Ozarks. We've been to West Virginia. We've been to Land Between the Lakes down in Kentucky, Hoosier National Forest in Indiana. It's kind of all over the Midwest and even 8-10 hours outside of that. So if that sounds good, definitely click through that link. $5 and up gets you access to all that stuff on the Patreon. Then last but not least, there is a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group, which is a totally free to join Facebook group that I run, where you can talk about overlanding. You can learn about overlanding. You can help other people that are getting into overlanding, but without all the bullying, without all the self-promotion, without all the for sale posts. It's just a cleaner experience if you're looking to learn about or teach people about overlanding. And we'd love to have you in there as well if you're interested. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.